Hi there, welcome back to my kitchen. All right, so what I'm gonna make for you guys today are barbecue ribs. I'm going to cook them low and slow on my Traeger grill at 225, and I'm gonna season them with two different flavors. I'm gonna make a Chipotle raspberry barbecue sauce, which I'm pretty excited about. And then the other ones I'm going to just dry rub. I've also done it two different ways. I've got ribs that I did not brine, I just took out of the package. I'm going to take the membrane off of the inside of the ribs. And then the other two racks, I brined them for the last 6 hours. So my brine was just water, a half cup of salt. I put a cup of brown sugar, a half cup of white sugar. I added about a tablespoon of sriracha sauce, about a half cup of apple cider vinegar. I added 5 cloves of crushed garlic to it. And that's it. Just a very simple brine. Let it go for about 6 hours. It's gonna infuse some really good flavor into those ribs. And so what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna do half and half. I'm gonna do half of these with the dry rub, half of these with the barbecue sauce, and I'm gonna do half and half, and I'm gonna see if I can taste the difference in the ones that were brined and the ones that weren't. So, gonna be a little bit of fun. First, what I'm gonna do though, these ones that I have got in my brine, I already took off that inner membrane. These ones here, I have not. So it's pretty simple, but it can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Just a butter knife, stick it underneath, in between kind of the bone and that inner skin. You can't be afraid to get a little dirty here. So just like this, hopefully you can see, I've got my finger underneath. It's actually kind of satisfying when you can take it off all in one piece, but it doesn't happen all the time. Usually you're working at it for a while. And then paper towel, because it's kind of icky and slimy, the paper towel will really help just grip onto it, and then you just pull. Oh yeah, look at that, all coming off at once, which is awesome. There. That one's done. I'm just gonna set it aside here for a second. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the next one, and then I'll season up my ribs. So for my seasoning, what I'm using is the Traeger rub. I really like it. It's garlic and chipotle pepper. It has a really nice flavor. But for pork ribs, I really like using brown sugar. I find sugar sweetness with the pork goes really well as well. So my combo for my simple rub is I use the Traeger rub, I use brown sugar, just a little bit of pepper and some seasoning salt. That's it. Mix it up and season your ribs generously. The racks that were not brined, I've already seasoned both sides. For the brined ribs, I pulled them out of the brine and I just patted them dry with some paper towel to get all the excess liquid off. Now I'm just gonna season it here. I'm gonna go ahead, flip them, and do the insides where the bone is. All right, there you have it. They're all seasoned. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them on my grill at 225 for about 2 hours. Then I'm gonna wrap them in foil with a little bit of butter, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, let them go for probably another 2 hours. And then I'm gonna unwrap them and I'm going to turn up the heat a bit because I'm gonna want that exterior part to get a little bit more on the crispy side. And that's when I'm gonna start glazing it with my sauce. And that way it'll get nice and sticky like you want ribs. And the other ones, the dry seasoning ones, I'm not gonna add the sauce to. My grill's all preheated to 225. I've got hickory chips going. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them on. On the right hand side, I'm gonna throw on the brined ones. And on the left hand side, I'm gonna throw on the not brined ones. Okay, I'm gonna let that go for about 2 hours. So for my Chipotle barbecue sauce, Chipotle raspberry barbecue sauce, all I'm doing right now is I've got 1 shallot that I finely chopped and 2 cloves of garlic in a saucepan, and I added about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I'm just sauteing that now, just to get them a little bit translucent and soft. Once that's done, I'm going to add 1 cup of chili sauce. Chili sauce is kind of like a ketchup. You can find it in the condiment section at the grocery store. Or if you don't have that and you have ketchup at home, you can also use ketchup, or even tomato sauce works. Okay, so my onions and garlic are looking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in that Chipotle sauce. I'm also gonna turn down the heat now to kind of medium-low, a little bit more on the low side. Because all I'm gonna do for this sauce, like once I get all of my ingredients incorporated, I'm just gonna simmer it to get it nice and thick. Okay, I got that in. I'm even gonna turn it down to low. There we go. Give that a stir, perfect. And now I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. A 1/4 cup of fancy molasses. I've got 2 Chipotle and adobos. I didn't cut them up, I just left them whole with a bit of the adobo sauce in there. Toss all that in. So at the very end, when my sauce has simmered and is tastes the way I want it to taste, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the whole thing through a strainer, like a really thin mesh strainer, and that will catch all the chunks as well as the raspberry seeds. So I've got my raspberries here that I already just crushed up. They're fresh raspberries. I didn't add anything to them, just crush them up. I did use 2 small packs of raspberries for this. And then for now, last but not least, I've got 2 squares of dark chocolate, 70% dark chocolate. It's gonna add like this nice bittery, chocolatey flavor. Not too much, I don't want it to overpower, just a little bit. So I'm gonna give that a nice stir. And I'm just gonna let it simmer now. Get all those flavors incorporated into the sauce. And then once it's starting to like really come together, I'm going to taste and add anything else that I feel it's missing. If it needs a little bit more of a saltiness, I can always add a little bit of soy sauce. I don't think I'll have any problems with the sweetness. I think I've got enough sweetness with the raspberries. Yeah, I'm gonna just taste and go from there, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Ribs are done. They took about 5.5 hours total. So they turned out perfect in my opinion. I've got the ones here that I brined. 2 of them, 2 half racks are sauced and 2 half racks are just the dry rub. And then I've got the ones that I didn't brine here. 2 of them again sauced and 2 of them just dry rub. So for the barbecue sauce that I made, my Chipotle raspberry with a hint of dark chocolate barbecue sauce, it tastes fantastic. Like, it is really nice. So all I added in was, I added 2 more cubes of the dark chocolate. I added another half cup of the chili sauce. And I also added a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, just for a little bit more of that salty flavor to just counterbalance the sweet from the raspberry, and as well as like the molasses and the brown sugar. So it's quite nice. It's definitely worth a try. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut into these ribs and just kind of give you a little glimpse at what they look like. So I'm gonna go ahead with one of the ones that I brined first. Ooh, they're already full in the cup. And I'm gonna show you what they look like inside. Hopefully you can see that. There's a really nice smoke ring in there, and they're like so juicy. They look awesome. Okay, I'm going to try and cut through one of the not brined dry rub ones. See what they look like inside. Oh, again, total meat fall apart here. They look fantastic. So I'm gonna try and sample one of the non-brined ribs that were sauced with my Chipotle raspberry barbecue sauce. And I'm also gonna sample one of the ones that was brine, that was also glazed with the Chipotle raspberry barbecue sauce. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the non-brined rib first. Fantastic. It's so good. And it's so juicy. And it's almost like a crust on the outside, like that barbecue sauce made this like really nice outside skin on it, and it's so juicy on the inside, and you can see that beautiful smoke ring. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try that, the one that was brined. You know what? I wasn't sure if I was gonna notice a difference or not, but 100%. The ones that I brined were way juicier and more, and like the flavor of them is incredible. It's like a flavor bomb. They're so freaking good. So I would highly recommend that if you're gonna make these ribs, brine them. Fantastic. You won't regret it. Your guests are gonna want the recipe for sure. Anyways, hope you like this.